Have you ever thought going to a bakery could be deadly? Unfortunately for Trayvon Martin, he didn't. And it was. But let me explain. It's the evening. The night begins to fall. The sky is cloudy. It's raining. A teenager is walking down the street, as thousands of other teenagers in the world. Except this teenager is in Florida. He wears a sweatshirt with his hood on, and he is being followed. The person following him has a gun and is self-appointed to be responsible for the neighborhood's watch. And it's on one of his rounds that he sees the teenager whom he finds to be suspicious. So he decides to follow him. But the teenager saw someone following him, so he just stopped, turned around, and asked why was he being followed. The man thought the teenager was armed and wanted to attack him. A shot was fired. A bullet whistled through the air, and from that point on, the teenager would never buy bread again. This story would have never happened if three things didn't happen. These three things are the gun license, video games, and prejudices. Having a gun is part of the American culture. I think it comes from the 19th century. At this time, Americans had to protect themselves with weapons. But wake up, we're in the 21st century now. If someone has done something to you, you can file a complaint. Ultimately, his money is more useful to me than taking his life. After this story, many demonstrations followed, with people wearing a sweatshirt which has become a symbol of protest. And signs were also created saying, "Don't shoot me, I'm just walking peacefully." But none of the demonstrations was against the right to own a gun. They were all about the hoodie symbol that wearing one doesn't make you a thief. It's as if none of the demonstrators thought it's abnormal that a civilian could do such a thing. It's as if they thought the gun has nothing to do with this murder. Obama was thinking to take away the gun license, but he didn't. And now they are actually thinking to allow it in university campuses. Where is the word going? Well, thankfully, you have to be at least 18 to own a gun. But once I saw the interview of a young boy in a gun store. He was talking about guns as if he was talking about video games. He seemed so passionate. He had stars in his eyes. He could tell you the particularities of each, the best, his favorite. So the journalist asked him if he has a gun. Well, of course, he said no, because he wasn't 18 yet. He borrows his father's gun. Where is the word going? The problem with today's society is that people show more their anger. The problem with the gun is that it's very easy to use. So my bottom line is that if you don't have a gun, it's pretty difficult to shoot someone. Video games are similar to other games, but they are more addictive and look so real that after an overexposure, the difference between your real and virtual life begins to blur, especially if you were playing a war game. People could say that playing Mario Kart doesn't make you a great driver, so why would playing Assassin's Creed make me a murderer? That's not what I said. I just think that with war games, you get used to killing, to blood. And after playing for too long, you see bad guys everywhere, hear gunshots all the time, and you think killing is funny, which is horrible. You begin to lose contact with the reality and to live in your bubble. So, why do we feel it's important to surround ourselves with violence? When you're watching a movie for the first time, you're always like, oh, I bet this person is a bad guy. And the second after, you see him stabbing someone in the back. Well, congratulations. You were right. But how did you know? Maybe because he was wearing dark, scary clothes instead of bright colors and a big smile. Maybe because he didn't look nice at all. So he had to be on the other side. Okay, well, now let me ask you another question. Do you characterize someone by his beauty or personality? Well, of course, everyone will say, oh, by its personality. So why do we think in some cases someone is mean because he doesn't look happy? Because we're having prejudices. Indeed, you looked at the outside and immediately presumed he was a bad guy. Like the example of movies, but we are having a lot of them in our lives. For example, by looking at the outside, we presume someone is a nerd because he wears glasses and a shirt. That someone is serious and good at his job because he's wearing a suit and a tie. That someone is a scum because he's wearing a sweatshirt. Okay, we don't always think like this, but pretty often. And we shouldn't jump to conclusion. Instead, we should know the person before having a judgment about her or him, especially if this judgment ends in a death. The story I began with is horrible, and it certainly may look like the world is becoming crazier and more dangerous. But the most tragic part is that the American Congress didn't try to do anything. They didn't try to change anything. So last year, last month, every 8 seconds in the United States, someone is shot. So who will be the next one? You, me? Who will be the next person going to a bakery on their feet and coming out lying on their back?